And welcome back. Today we are flying out the P-38G, well, also the XP-38G. They are the exact same plane, and you will be flying them the exact same way. Before we get started, thank you to all the Patreons and to everyone looking to buy anything from the Convergence store. I have a 3% discount link in the description. Still no decal, I'll let you know when it is finished. This plane has pretty decent performance, but the main lifeline of this thing will be the airspan. While the turn rate is good, the roll rate is alright, as long as you aren't going too fast. The handling and especially your nose authority is absolutely atrocious. It's very annoying to get guns on people if you have some speed on you. And this is one of those planes that feels very awkward to fly at low speed. If you go pretty fast, you start locking up, you start compressing, not really ideal, so you kinda don't really have a sweet spot with this thing. In a 1v1 and stuff, it's pretty decent. These flaps are pretty damn good. However, you are still a twin boom and you will definitely feel it in the way this thing handles. You can't really put your nose on, and if you are gonna fly at low speed, what mostly happens is when you use your mouse, it's gonna be somewhat unresponsive, and then you press your keyboard and it starts pulling out of nowhere. So it doesn't really like to work together with mouse and keyboard. You need to kind of use one or the other. Overall, I fly this thing with keyboard until I have to aim, but you really notice that once you let go of the keys and you start trying to aim with your mouse, it suddenly just becomes super awkward. So really what you want is kind of an energy advantage. I mean, you want that in most of the lower tier props, because this thing doesn't really climb that well. And with the flaps, especially with the turn rate as well, as long as you use your keyboard, it's pretty good. So with the airspan, you can dive on people, you can come in, and you kind of want them to pitch up for you if they keep their speed. And people that have flown the P-38G probably know this experience, that people, if they keep their speed, you can't really kill them in this thing, and it is extremely annoying. Luckily, you do have 450 cals as well as a 20mm in the nose. This is the A&M2, not the A&M3 that got nerfed, so it does pack quite a punch. But again, getting the nose on target is straight up infuriating at times, as long as people aren't slow on the deck, and you can just energy trap them, run trains on them until they eventually are out of energy, and you can basically shoot someone flying in place, just like this boomerang over here. So we ended up with 5 kills in the first 2 minutes of the match, and now we have some speed on us, and we are gonna get a little bit of altitude and see if we can engage the I-153 as well as the C-202. Both of these planes not the most dangerous, but the I-153 is actually pretty annoying because it will be able to snap around in a single second, and the damage model of this thing is pretty bad. It really like getting set on fire in a single shot. There we go. Thank you, milk trucks. They are driving, shooting at a plane, flying directly over them, and of course they just hit you once and you get set on fire. Mid-map AA is a fantastic feature. More of that in upcoming videos, because lately I've been dying to that shit so damn much. It's actually getting super annoying. Like, it doesn't allow you to play anywhere. If you're in the middle of the map, you get hit by AA. If you get on their side of the map, you get hit by the base AA, like the small bomb bases AA. And then if you go beyond that, you run into their airfield. So you're just forced to play on your side of the map, which is super infuriating, because I just want to play the damn game. And here we are on Kosan, front line. There's going to be a lot of AA in the middle of the map, and I kind of just want to stay clear of it. The problem is everyone is flying on this side of the map, so I'm just going to have to actually, well, get over here if I want to kill anyone. Go for the Heinkel 112. Spitfire is going super slow. You can tell my nose does not want to cooperate. Luckily the Spitfire is chasing someone else. He's going for the P-39 F4, so we can simply loop up and over. And we are now directly on the 6 of the Spitfire that is simply going way too slow. Corsair decides it's a good idea to full commit the guy that has already 2 guys shooting at him. Gets the kill for ramming him. Absolutely stellar gameplay. So we are now going to leave the area because there's just too many guys behind us. There's a Yak 1, he's about to take off again. 109, Spitfire, and these planes all climb quite well. But then I noticed that I'm climbing into the AA, so I'm just going to turn around again and assess my dominance with a little bit of altitude that I have. I would like to have a little bit more, because you do need some speed in this thing. Because again, if people turn around, and most guys do turn around very quickly at this BR, what's going to end up happening is they're going to spray at you from like 0.6 until like 1.3, and if any of those rounds hit you along the way, you are probably going to be looking at a massive forest fire. So this Yak 1 is trying to pitch up. I'm not really going to have it. I'm not going to take the head-on or anything. So I'm going to delay my drop a little bit longer. And because of that, he's going to end up right below us. Going way too slow to dodge these guns at all. So we break off. Notice the SM91. And we're going to wait for him a little bit longer to get out of the AA bubble. Because, well, I don't have good experience with AA. And he's going to climb directly into us. This guy is definitely not really a threat. We are basically him, but better. He does have better guns. More of them as well. So we just want to be kind of careful of that. As well as the gunner. But I mean, it's really not that much of an issue. And he's not really paying attention to us at all. He's just climbing straight into us. So he's going to turn into free XP basically. And because we are flying a premium vehicle, we are going to get quite a lot of it. So we dive on him. I was waiting a little bit in case he wanted to pitch in for the head-on. But he's just completely oblivious. And I just keep pulling the trigger until he finally dies. When people are going that slow, quite easily killable. Even with a plane like this that doesn't really have that much nose authority. And here comes the 109. P-51C starts diving on him. Orbital strikes him. And I'm just looking at him because I'm waiting for it to happen. I already know he's overcooked that completely. So I'm just keeping them both in view. And I'm just like, there he goes. Took a while, but you know, the second he went below the 109, he kind of fucked it anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Now, however, the 109 was a little bit busy with the P-51. So I have a little bit of time here to make sure that he actually dies. But then I noticed the Spitfire. And the Spitfire is infinitely more annoying to actually deal with, despite the 109 on paper being better. Spitfire is also climbing into us. The 109 is flying away. So I'm just gonna go up. See if the Spitfire wants to pitch up for us. I'm going in front of him this time because I want him to pitch up for me. Because if he does, he will simply die. Go even slower. Notice that he is. So I'm gonna delay my drop a little bit longer. And then we pitch right behind him. Well, it looked like he was pitching up for us, but I'm not entirely sure what he's doing. He's kind of oblivious. We get some hits in. We don't do that much damage. B49E is pitching up for us, so we are going to go straight up. And we are just going to hold this angle. If he tries to follow this, he will die. I'm going to use the flaps for the first time. Try to get a little bit of boost in. Get him out of the match right here. We shoot him. We dodge the head on with the VB drop. And we are just going to go straight vertical. He doesn't have the speed right now to do anything about it. I'm going to use the flaps yet again. Because if this fight goes on too long, I will die. So I'm going to put everything into this one turn. I get right behind him. Hold the trigger. Hold the trigger. And he dies. There we go. Kill number 6. A little bit boring. Because mostly, well, you saw it. Low tier pilots aren't the brightest. Not that I can fault them. It's a pretty complicated game. Here we are again on the same map actually. I assure you it's a different map. I'm not about to get 12 kills in a singular match. But you probably would have guessed that from the start already. It would have definitely been in the title. So here's the Arado, or the Arado, the AR2. I'm just gonna shoot at him. I don't really want to get hit by those gunners. So the second he starts shooting, I'm just gonna dodge. Gonna hold the trigger down. I'm not gonna use my 20 mils. He's too far away. Well, he's not really too far away, but I know I can kill that guy with the 50 kills only very easily. And I'd rather save the 20 mils for something that I actually need to kill ASAP. And you have 150 rounds of the 20. So you do have quite a hefty amount of trigger time, since, well, the A&M2 isn't that fast firing. So for now, who do I want to engage? And that's going to be the main issue here. It's the same with the SB2C video that I did yesterday. You don't want to overcook your dive too much, and you don't want to waste too much engaging a singular target. Unless it, of course, results into helping someone. Razor again gets hit by mid-map AA. What an amazing feature. I was going to help him out, but he said he was completely fine. So I'm going to leave him to it. So when he says that, he mostly does have it. And I'm gonna carry on towards the ITP. And the ITP here is going to be a bigger threat anyway, because he's actually at some altitude. He has 2 Shavacs and that 37mm. And even if he only had one of those 3 guns, pretty nasty when you are flying this, as long as he's running the right belt. So the ITP looks to be somewhat occupied going for the B-34. So I'm gonna start diving here to mask my presence. I'm gonna try to get underneath him, and then when he pitches up for the B-34, I'm gonna pitch up for him. He actually does notice us, so we have to dodge the guns. We roll out of the way very slowly, because it doesn't roll whatsoever. But the second we get into this fight, he will get the first shot, or at least the first angle, because he is a little bit slower than us, because we were in that dive for a little bit longer. And all we have to do is stay out of his guns. I'm not going to use my flaps too much. I don't want to bleed too much energy. However, the follow flaps on this thing are pretty damn good. Right now we're on the top of our loop. I'm going to use our flaps a little bit because I'm mostly worried about losing some speed, trying to get behind him and try to keep my turn as tight as possible. I'm going to drop it to landing now, or takeoff, sorry. And I'm slowly but surely getting behind him because of my better turn rate, equal roll roughly. And I'm losing more speed and I'm keeping this super tight. Then he gets in front of us. I'm going to pull the flaps in a second here, but I'm going to use them a little bit longer to get the guns on. He's now faster than us. However, he is within 600 meters and 50 cals and AM2s have plenty of range. He's however a little bit too fast for comfort. I'm going 600 as well, which is way too fast for comfort in this thing. So I'm just trying to get some pop shots in, trying to gun him down. I don't want to break off here because I know that at this speed, if I break off, he's just going to turn around and hose me down. And I'm not really feeling that. He starts to turn. I'm going to get behind him and we click him out of the air. I probably shouldn't have gone for the reversal there. But it might also be the case that his engine would start overheating because such is the life of the ITP. Notice the I-16 as well as an F4F in the background, and the I-16 is something I don't really want to deal with, but there's also a BF-109 on our left. The P-39K in the middle of the map is not the biggest issue. P-38K is definitely not as good as something like the P-39N. So I'm just waiting for the I-16 here. He's already smoking a little bit and he's not going that fast, so I think to myself, I'm just going to clean him up right here. If I can, if I'm open to do so, I definitely will. So keep looking around, see who is going to engage me, and as long as there is no one here, I should be fine. The F4F in the background, if I have an energy disadvantage over him, not the biggest deal in the world. It's not exactly a great plane. So the I-16 is going to try to pitch in for a head-on. We're just going to shoot the 50 cals. We don't hit anything. We go up and over. And because he is so slow, he probably has some engine damage, or he's trying to cool off the engine. I just want to kill him right here. So I'm going to dump all my flaps. Gonna try to stay above his nose, delay my turn in a little bit longer. And then we crit him. We don't actually damage him that badly, but considering he already was damaged, we get a crit in. I see some shit fall off. He's probably not doing that well. F4F coming in. I-16 however is now going for us as well, and I was hoping he was going to continue on back to his airfield. So what do I do against the F4F? I'm going to keep it a little bit fast, and I'm trying to get away from the I-16 as quickly as possible. I'm not too worried about the I-16 catching me, but I want to increase the velocity so much that he thinks I'm never going to catch him, and by the time he turns off, the F4F dives on me, and now the F4F is basically left alone because the I-16 is not quick enough to actually come in here. The F4F does turn deceptively well, but he's trying to use his energy advantage. The thing is, when you are in an F4F, your energy advantage doesn't matter, because after one or two turns you're gonna be going slower than me. So he gets set on fire instantly because you played it completely wrong. With something like the F4F, sure, your plane is bad. You have a very bad climb rate. You have a decent turn rate, as long as you have energy in that plane. The thing is, it doesn't keep its energy, so you are gonna be limited to 1 or 2 turns. And if you then break off or try to go for an energy trap, your enemy can basically equalize in 1 or 2 seconds, which is the worst thing you can do. If you are in a bad plane and you dive on someone, if you are in a bad plane and you're trying to engage someone with an energy disadvantage, try to put as much pressure on your enemy as possible. Unless of course you have a plane that's kind of bad, but it can maintain its energy somewhat. You can be fast, maybe you can go into a vertical, or your enemy is extremely slow, so you can do it. But with a plane like the F4F against an P-38 that isn't going super slow, what's going to end up happening is you burn all your speed in that one maneuver. You try to fly away, and instead of just flying away, you are giving your 6 to your enemy, and he is now going to be roughly the same speed. And if you are going faster, he can just climb after you, and as long as I keep climbing after you, eventually I will catch you in that climb, because my climb rate will be superior, because your F4F is absolutely abysmal in basically every way. It does have a good turn rate, yet again, as long as you can keep going downwards, you can put altitude into energy, because the energy generation of the engine itself is basically non-existent. F4U, however, quite the opposite case. Same BR for some godforsaken reason, But he is above us, he's a lot faster than us, and he's more maneuverable at a high speed. So I'm gonna try to get behind him as quickly as possible. Use these flaps. Try to go as slow as possible. And as long as I use these flaps, he will overshoot. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to stay above his nose. I'm trying to make him pitch into us. And because I'm going a little bit slower now, and my turn rate is much better at low speed, I'm going to get behind him relatively quickly. The only issue is now the Bf-109 has quite the energy advantage on us, because we went all the way back down to the deck. And because it's an FU-1A, I need to kill him right there. Otherwise, I am going to be completely boned. If I let him run away, if I let him third party me with the Bf-109, it's game over. The Bf-109 easily out dogfights us, and the FU easily outruns us. And that combination, we all know, isn't exactly ideal. So after a little bit of climbing, a little bit of energy management, and we are gonna fly directly towards the Bf-109s that are engaging Razor right now. The I-16, not sure what's going to end up happening to him. I think he just crashed and gave no one the kill. But Razor is going to keep these guys at bay for as long as possible, and then I'm gonna come in to lick them up. Razor can probably kill these guys one-on-one, but two Bf-109s, especially with an E in the mix, it's just not really feasible. They stall too late. The P-39 is an amazing aircraft in the 1v1. But if you are gonna dogfight someone that stalls much later than you and can pitch up relatively quickly or easily because it has a pretty good engine, you can't really play your energy. So you are forced to kind of just run away. He's doing a good job to keeping them busy for as long as humanly possible. And every second he keeps those guys from climbing, gaining speed, and keeping them as slow as possible, the easier it is going to be for us. So now we are getting within 5 kilometers. I'm gonna try to start diving a little bit. And I didn't start diving earlier because I want to come in from as high of an angle as possible. I'm going to pick up speed in the straight line anyway. And the second I'm going to reach like 500 kilometers an hour, I'm going to put it into a slide dive. Because at low speed your plane generates energy much quicker. We are not flying a jet. We are flying a prop. So when you are going over or nearing your top speed in a straight line, it's better to only start diving then. Because you will end up reaching your enemy at a much faster speed. So we go up. We're gonna let these guys pitch up for us. If they do so, Razor can come in, but they're going way too slow. They were too busy dogfighting him for too long. First Bf-109E gets set on fire, and I'm gonna switch on over to the second guy. The guy behind me is not necessarily dead, so I do want to be somewhat wary of him, but then this guy just pitches up straight in front of me, and I'm just gonna go for it. I get a crit, he starts spraying his MGs at us, and last guy burns up. Razor comes in with his bazookas, narrowly misses him. And now Mr. number 7 is going to be basically stalled out right in front of us. I'm going to call it 7 because that I-16 just crashed without giving me a kill. But now he's way too slow to do anything. It's 2v1. So I just need to hit my shots. There we go. That's how I'll have you today. See you all in the next one.